Hello and welcome to episode 7 of The Creakers. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. We've had a great day here at school. And to finish off the day, I'm just going to read you another 10 minutes of the story. So, here we go. She didn't know how it had happened, but at some point during the afternoon, she and Norman had become friends. Maybe it was because they were the only two people in Whiffington who knew about the Creakers. Well, apart from Ella, who sort of knew. It was their secret after all, and nothing makes stronger friends than a secret. The house was ready, the trap was set. Now they just needed to wait for the Creakers to return. "Why do I have to wear this rotten thing?" Ella whined as they sat her down in the middle of Lucy's room, right on the E marked on the floor. "Oh, it just makes the ghost stories scarier. You know, the bad smell and all that," Norman lied. "Yeah, it adds to the effect," Lucy added. "Okay," said Ella uncertainly, as the massive stinking coat swamped her shoulders, covering up her silky pink pyjamas. Norman and Lucy both had their dressing gowns on to hide their clothes underneath. Norman was wearing his full scout uniform, and Lucy was in her favourite pair of dungarees. So although they looked ready for a sleepover, they were fully prepared for adventure. "Why is your room so messy?" asked Ella, looking around. "Because Mum's not here to tidy it up," lied Lucy, feeling the butterflies fluttering in her tummy. She hated lying, even to Ella annoying. "So where are they?" Ella said, holding out her hands expectantly. "Here you go, a full packet of marshmallows as requested," Lucy said, plonking the sweets onto Ella's open hands. "Ooh, goody goody, nom nom," said Ella, ripping open the packet at once and beginning to munch on them, picking out all of her favourite pink ones. They switched off Lucy's bedroom light, huddled round Norman's torchlight, and spent the rest of the night sharing spooky stories like The Haunted Treehouse, Night of the Living Dead Goldfish, and Norman's personal favourite, The Campsite Critters of Cold Creek. "Those stories weren't scary at all," Ella whined. "You two are rubbish. I thought we were going to tell really scary ones. You two are big scaredy cats." All of a sudden, a bell chimed from the church across the other side of Whiffington town, echoing through the darkness of the night outside Lucy's window. "Oh, listen to that! It's midnight," Ella said, looking a little excited. "That's right, Ella. And do you know what happens at midnight?" asked Lucy. "Norman's head turns back into a pumpkin," Ella giggled. "No, it's when the Creakers come out," Lucy said. Ella fell silent and stopped chewing her mouthful of pink marshmallows. "The what?" "Creakers. You have heard of the Creakers, haven't you?" Norman said. "Yeah, oh, Creakers, of course. Sure, I know all about Creakers. I probably know more than both of you, actually," Ella replied. Lucy could tell she was fibbing. "But maybe you could just remind me?" "Creakers are the things that hide under your bed," said Lucy. "Creakers are the things that put nasty dreams inside your head," added Norman. "I'm not scared of those silly things. It's just a story," lied Ella. "That's what most children think, Ella, but there's only one way to be sure a creaker doesn't get you in the night," Norman said, making his voice as spooky as he could, which wasn't very. "What's that?" asked Ella. "To stay up all night," Norman said. "And not go to bed," added Lucy. Ella started to look a little uneasy, like she wanted to go back to telling the not-so-scary stories. "Right, I'm off to sleep," said Norman chirpily, switching off his torch and climbing into Lucy's bed. "Nighty-night." "Wait, you're actually going to bed? What if a creaker comes?" whined Ella. "It's just a story, like you said," Norman yawned, rolling over and pulling the covers over his head. "You know, I'm feeling sleepy too," said Lucy, climbing into the wardrobe, which she'd lined with a duvet and a pillow. She closed the door until she could just see Ella through a small crack. "Are you both bonkers?" Ella cried. "If these creaky things creak out and you're both fast asleep, you'll both be goners. We've got to stay up all night." She huddled on the floor, keeping a careful eye on the shadows underneath the bed, right on the spot, marked with an E. "Okay, we'll take it in turns. You take first watch, Ella," Lucy said, smiling to herself as she settled into her little snug inside the wardrobe. Even though she couldn't see him, she knew that Norman was smiling too. Their plan was working. For now. Chapter 11. Catching Creakers. Lucy and Norman lay very still, silently pretending to sleep as they listened out for the first signs of a creaker. Ella remained sitting on her spot on the floor, too scared to move and too scared to sleep. She just sat there, wishing for the sun to come up and for this scary, spooky night to be over. The perfect creaker bait. There was no way Lucy was going to fall asleep tonight, not with the risk of losing her dad's jacket to a bunch of creepy creatures from under her bed. As she stared at the inside of her wardrobe and her eyes adjusted to the dark, she began to see the things inside. Her second and third favourite pairs of dungarees hanging overhead, her shoes piled in the corner, and then something else caught her eye. Some writing on the inside of the door. It was a chart measuring her height over the years. Of course, it was right there every time she opened her wardrobe, but it was one of those things she'd seen so often that it had become invisible to her. Now that she had time to really look at it, she realised how amazing it was to see how small she'd once been and how much she'd grown. But as she studied it in the thin crack of light coming in through the slightly open door, she realised what was so special about it. Scribbled with a marker pen next to the chart was the word Lucy. And Lucy recognised her dad's handwriting. The distinctive way he wrote his Y's with the extra loop in the tail. Her heart fluttered a little at seeing this piece of her dad that she'd forgotten was there. She couldn't remember when the chart had started. She squinted in the dim light and looked at the very lowest marking on the chart close to her feet. The words, age 2 and 7 months, were written there, in her mum's neat handwriting. As her name moved higher and higher up the door, and the ages next to it grew older, Lucy spotted something right near the top. There was some more writing way up high, far too high to be Lucy's height. Carefully and quietly, she stood up in the wardrobe to get a better look. As she got closer, she read the words, Mum, age 32, and a little further up was Dad, age 34. Lucy had a sudden, unexpected feeling. Her whole body felt warm and safe, like she was being hugged. Just seeing the words Mum and Dad written in her parents' handwriting brought back those feelings that only families can give to each other. She felt comforted for a moment, snug in the wardrobe, as though somehow the grown-upless world outside didn't exist. Like her family was back together again. The three of them, right there in the wardrobe. Her happy moment was interrupted by the chiming of the clock tower echoing across Whiffington, announcing the hour. It must be getting late, thought Lucy as she counted the chimes. 3 a.m. already, she thought. That went fast. And that's when she heard it. Not a creak, but a yawn. It was Ella. Lucy peered out of the crack in the wardrobe door and saw Ella stretching sleepily before rubbing her tired eyes. Obviously our scary creaker story wasn't scary enough to keep Ella awake all night, she thought. Then Lucy heard something else. Another yawn. This time it was Norman. That useless boy, Lucy thought, watching him snuggle comfortably down in her bed and start snoozing on her pillow. But Lucy had the feeling that something wasn't quite right. She peeped out of her hiding place in the wardrobe again and saw the most astonishing thing. A faint cloud of golden dust was wafting across her room, settling over the eyes of Ella and Norman as it floated by. Lucy's heart stopped. Ella and Norman weren't falling asleep, they were being sent to sleep. She watched the dust settle into the corners of their eyes as they drifted deeper into hypnotic slumber. Then Lucy realised that Ella and Norman's sleepy eyes weren't the only eyes they could see. They were there. 4 pairs of beady black eyeballs were lurking in the shadows beneath her bed, staring out. Lucy froze inside the wardrobe, but the eyes weren't looking at Lucy. They hadn't seen her yet. They were looking at Ella, wrapped up in the jacket, and at all the deliciously rotten bits of rubbish scattered temptingly around her room. "They be a good and dozyin' now," croaked a voice from the darkness. "Dozy dost always be working in a treat." "Them kiddlings not be waking up for a long time this night," grunted another. "Stupid girl brung a weedy little boy with her. Look, it's the tidy kiddling from across the walk. He won't be doing her any help." They all laughed. This is good, Lucy thought. The Creakers thought that Ella, curled up in her fluorescent jacket, was her, just as she and Norman had planned. "Come on, let's be getting the stinkering coat," hissed another. We're going to have to stop there for today. Have a wonderful rest of the day and day tomorrow, and I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of The Creakers. Bye-bye.